Welcome to the T1 Fitness channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like this video, share it with your family and friends, and make sure you subscribe to my channel to get updates whenever new uploads come out. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a new 8-week workout plan that I'm doing, and it has to do with the upper and lower body split. My previous workout was push-pull legs, which I will go over in another video, but I've started the upper and lower body split. I'm doing 4 days, which when you're doing upper lower body split, doing the 4 days, it's 2 days upper body, 2 days lower body, with abs and cardio kind of in the middle, and then you have a rest day. There are different variations of doing an upper lower split. It just kind of depends on what your goals are. You could do a 2-day, a 3-day, or a 4-day like I'm doing, but it just kind of depends on what your goals are. So some of the exercises that I'm going to be explaining in these videos, which I'm doing a 4-part series on each day that I do the upper lower split, I will be explaining exercises that I've explained before in previous videos that I'm carrying over into this workout plan, but I've also implemented new workouts to kind of explore different things and kind of hit certain muscle groups by themselves. So this workout plan is focusing more on getting more ISO exercises. It allows more exercises to be done in one session because you're trying to hit each upper body group and each lower body group each time. And then once you're doing that second day, you're doing different exercises, but you're still hitting those same groups. So whenever I was coming up with this workout plan, I tried to pick exercises that I enjoy, and that is honestly the best thing you could try to do, is try to find exercise you like to do, but also try to add stuff that you may not be so familiar with. Just try to throw something in there to change it up. Alright, so let's get into it. The first exercise is one that I've talked about before, is the barbell row, and this time I actually got a chance to use a actual barbell for this exercise. I believe that this exercise is very, very good for the muscle groups that it works, which is your back and your shoulders and your triceps. So it's definitely important to maintain the right kind of form whenever you're doing this exercise. But as I've stated before when I've talked about this exercise, you want to make sure you're pinching that back. You want to make sure you're trying to pull that bar as close to you as possible and make sure you keep that form throughout. The only difference that I made between this exercise, doing the exercise this time and then in a previous video, is that I dropped the rep count. I normally do 12 to 15 reps. I'm now doing 8 to 10 within maybe at max 12. And the actual set count went from 3 to 4 to 2 to 3, and that's only because I'm doing heavier weight. I'm doing heavier weight each time. Even with the warm-ups, I'm not just doing the bar. I'm actually doing something that's more manageable, but not just the bar. And so I'm doing heavier weights as I progress, and not just progressing by just 10 pounds. I'm trying to do more than that, maybe 15 to 20 to 25 pounds. And that's just because I'm trying to build that strength and trying to build that overall muscle group. So that's what changed when I'm doing this exercise as compared to last time. Another exercise I've talked about at great length on this channel is the barbell bench press. I implemented it in this workout plan as well as the last one, and I'll continue to probably implement it in other workout plans that I have because I think it's a great exercise. Honestly, I enjoy doing it, and it works so many different muscle groups. It's one of the compound lifts, one of the bases for most muscle exercises that you're going to try to do. I believe that it's a great workout to implement in any workout plan, and it doesn't matter where you are, like beginner, intermediate, advanced, it still has muscle growth properties for everybody. So the difference that I have made between this workout plan and previous ones I've done is that I have lowered the rep count from 12 to 15 to about 8 to 10. Since I'm doing heavier weight, I am pushing myself a lot farther to do heavier weight, and I want to make sure that I'm using all or at least most of those reps in reserve, which for those of you who don't know what reps in reserve is that whenever you're lifting heavy weights, you want to have a little bit left. You don't want to necessarily go to failure, which is basically until you can't do anymore. So those reps in reserve, you want to have probably about 3 to maybe 4 at max reps in reserve. At least that's my opinion, before you get to failure, because it really kind of stimulates that muscle growth. I know some people like going to failure. When you think of going to failure, your muscles are pretty much fatigued after that. And I'm not saying that going to failure is wrong or bad or not necessary. I'm just saying that having those reps in reserve sometimes is good for your overall muscle growth, but you should probably at least do to failure at least a couple times, just see where you're at, just kind of gauge yourself to where how many reps you can actually do before your muscles completely give out on you. So I definitely think that going to failure is helpful, but at the same time I think that you should just have just a couple reps in reserve, just to really stimulate that muscle growth and kind of, really just focus all on that. Another workout that I've talked about on this channel before that I'm incorporating is the standing military press. So if you don't know, standing military press works all parts of your shoulder and your upper back. The reason why I want to incorporate this exercise into this new workout plan is, number one, I really enjoy doing this exercise. But number two, I believe that this exercise really kind of gauges your overall strength in those muscle groups. You really kind of understand how or what strength you have in your shoulders and your upper back because of the simple fact that you are standing, and essentially your shoulders and your upper back is taking on all of the pressure of lifting that weight up. So you cannot kind of understand where the strength lies and how much you lift and how many reps you can do. So with this, I of course was only doing about three sets of about 8 to 10, but like I said, I dropped all the rep counts for all of these exercises because I am doing heavier weights overall than I was doing in my previous workout plan. So I typically drop the rep count just to have a little bit more reps in reserve. But with this exercise, I can definitely say that I was pretty much going to failure, just because I could feel my muscles fatiguing very, very, very quickly, and I could feel they start to shake whenever they're getting close to that failure point. And I felt that in the second set, and then I knew when I was doing my third set that I probably wasn't going to try to go for a fourth, just because I could already feel my shoulders and my back and even my triceps like trembling. And so of course I tried to push through it as hard as I could, but I definitely felt the tension, and I can feel my muscles starting to fatigue and starting to tighten up on me. So I definitely kept it 3 sets, at least 8 to 10 reps. So I definitely recommend that if you are going to go heavier on those weights. I definitely recommend you stay in the 8 to 10 rep count, because you might be in a situation where trying to get that weight up over your head is going to definitely be a lot harder. Once you get into like 9, 10, 11, 12 reps, you're going to start struggling and you're going to feel those muscles starting to shake and tighten up. So I definitely think you should incorporate this exercise, but definitely if you are going to go heavier when you're doing the standing military press, definitely make sure your rep count is lower than what you would normally do if you were doing lighter weight, of course. So one of the new exercises that I'm implementing in this workout plan is called face pulls. Face pulls are a little bit similar to cable rows, but it works more of your upper back, your traps, your tris, and your shoulders as well. But it really focuses more on the upper part of your back. So just like with the cable rows, you are pulling weight towards you in order to get that real pinch into your back. But the difference is that it's focusing solely on the upper portion of your back and not so much the middle, not so much the upper, middle, and the lower. So just like with cable rows, like I said, you're just wanting to pull that weight towards you. But also another difference with this exercise is that the grip is a little bit more loose, because you're not working with a standard cable rope bar or anything like that. You're doing it with the rope, which is a little bit, your grip has to be very tight and very centered in order for you to do this exercise correctly and get the accurate muscle tension that you want. So whenever you're doing this exercise, you want to be cognizant of that. But with this exercise, I did a little bit different than the other exercise that I've done for this particular day. I did 4 sets of this because it is a new exercise, and I was starting off at a lower weight, but I did bigger jumps. It wasn't 5 or 10. I did bigger jumps from I started with about 30 kilograms, and then I went up to about 40, so 40 to 45, and so I was going from 10 to 15, and so I tried to make sure that I was making that transition a little bit quicker than I have in other workouts, but I still, since it was a new workout that I was doing, I want to make sure that I got my form down before I started to jump up in weight significantly. That is also something that I stress 110%, is you make sure that you have your form and you have everything correct. So you should start with a lower weight, just to kind of understand that, and that's what warm-ups are really for, is to kind of gauge where you're at with your form and kind of see if you feel that burn and that muscle tension correctly in the right muscle groups. And if everything is all good, you want to try to up that weight more you can. So I did 4 sets. I did 10 to 12 reps of that, just to kind of get that flow and that form working. So later on in this 8-week program, I'm probably going to drop the set down to 3 and then keep going up in weight like I have, just because now I know what the form is. So like I said, whenever you're doing the exercise, if this is your first time doing it, you want to gauge where your form is at, gauge where your muscle strength is at, and then kind of go up from there, obviously. So this next workout is one that I've done a variation of in my previous workout videos, which is the skull crushers. So I've done the dumbbell skull crushers in previous videos, but this one I'm doing the barbell skull crushers, which I decided to do the different variation just because I've talked about it before. I kind of got myself into a mindset of like, I kind of like doing skull crushers, but I want to do the more traditional way of doing it. Because when you think of skull crushers, for those of you who are seasoned vets in working out, you think of just doing it with the barbell or the curl bar or whatever bar that you're using. You typically do it with a bar of some kind and not dumbbells. But I kind of got into the mood. I'm like, I want to do the traditional way of doing skull crushers because I like the exercise. I think you really get a lot of real growth in your triceps whenever you do this exercise. So I really wanted to keep doing skull crushers. So I kind of carried that over from my last workout plan and brought it to this one. I just decided to change the variation up. I do think that doing the barbell is a little bit less free form because you're obviously doing it with the free weight dumbbells, and you can kind of control the barbell a little bit more, in my opinion. But also at the same time, I feel like the muscle contractions whenever you're doing the skull crusher with the barbell it gets deeper than whenever you're doing it with the dumbbells. That's just my personal opinion. Some people may have a different opinion about it, but I personally like the muscle contractions and just like the overall movement that you can do with the barbell as opposed to the dumbbell. That's not to say I don't hate the dumbbell by any means, obviously, because I did it in my last workout plan. So I definitely like doing that, but I'm glad that I did a different variation of it for this workout plan, and I was able to kind of implement that into my new workout plan. The last exercise we're going to be talking about is the barbell curls. Obviously, I like doing a lot of standing up exercises. The barbell curls is no different. I like doing this exercise just like every other exercise that I've talked about, But there's something I will say against this exercise. There is room for error with this exercise, and you have to be aware of it because it's not good. But I understand whenever you're doing the standing barbell curl, whenever you're trying to curl that bar up, you can at times lose form and not even really know it until after the exercise or after you've done it. Or like me, if you film yourself doing the exercise, you notice, hey, I was starting to arch my back, or I was starting to really lift with my back instead of my arms. You can get caught up doing that whenever, especially whenever you're doing like me, lifting heavier weights. You can get caught up doing that, especially whenever you get towards the end of your reps and your muscles are getting fatigued. Other muscle groups are gonna start kicking in to help you out if they can. So whenever you're doing the standing barbell curl, you might be able to feel your back start to tense up because your arm muscles are struggling, your biceps are struggling to pull that weight up and contract all the way up to bring the weight up, and your back is gonna start helping. And you don't want that to happen because you're trying to work your biceps. Now, if you get your back muscles to help you, this no longer becomes a biceps exercise. It becomes a biceps and back exercise, which, I mean, if that's what you're trying to go for, obviously you're doing something right then. But at the same time, you want to take note of that because that can obviously lead to injuring your back down the road if you're doing weight a little bit too heavy and your muscles start to fatigue in the middle of a rep, and you feel it, and like you feel your back starting to kick in and help you lift that weight up. So I like this exercise, but that is one of the biggest things that I noticed that is kind of a negative that I don't like about this exercise that I caught myself doing. But it's not necessarily your fault. Whenever your muscles start to fatigue, it tries to pull other muscle groups in to try to say, hey, I need help lifting this weight up. If you can give me some help, I need help. So your other muscle groups are going to kick in and try to help that muscle group lift that weight up. So whenever you're doing the standing barbell curls, you want to make sure that you stand straight up and you're keeping your back straight, and you make sure you're solely just lifting with your biceps and lifting and contracting your biceps. And whenever you start to feel that fatigue, or feel like you're getting to failure, or feel like your back is starting to hurt, or you can feel your back muscles starting to get involved, I would suggest you stop and end right there, because you're reaching your failure. So obviously you should stop and then take a break and then kind of figure out what you're doing wrong and what you need to change. Alright guys, so that's my video. Remember, this is the first video in a 4-part series, so stay tuned for the other videos that are going to be coming out. But hopefully you guys learned something, you guys can take something away from this, and whenever you guys are coming up with your new workout plans, you are cognizant of what workouts to choose and what workouts that work best for you. But always remember to pick exercises that you enjoy doing, so whenever you are going to the gym, it is going to be an absolutely great experience for you, or at least a hard-working one. So make sure you are choosing exercises that you like and exercises that you are willing to do, but also make sure you're challenging yourself. You don't want to get caught up in being safe and just wanting to just do the same old workouts, because then you're not really growing. You want to challenge yourself, you want to challenge your body, because honestly your body might surprise you. So make sure you guys are challenging yourself, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.